Schon irgendwie schon mitgenommen. Ich meine, die Kriegsjahre hatten auch hier Spuren hinterlassen.
Und am Fall der Mauer kamen so manche Wessis und führten die Brüderie wieder ein.
Machst du hier selber rein vielleicht? Ja.
So Leute, die Einfluss nehmen wollten, wie haben die Kontakt aufgenommen zu euch? Also wie subtil war das?
Da kam ein Funktionär und sagte, das Lied Halb und Halb spielt bitte nicht. Egon Krenz ist anwesend, der will das nicht hören.
Ach Mensch, in Havanna ist es jetzt so spät und in Halifax.
Aber nach Havanna durftet ihr ja. Das war ja quasi ein sozialistisches
Ja, aber nicht
Bruderland.
alle. Ein Konferencier sagt dann, und jetzt Inka oder Inka Bause. Das ist der Friedrichstadtpalast. Und da haben die größten Stars überhaupt der Welt gestanden. Und hier heute für Sie Jörg Buschka.
Es ist zu wenig aus der ehemaligen DDR, auch an Gutem, jetzt noch vorhanden.
Ja.
Du bist der Anker in einer Welt des Ostens.
Es wurde ja immer darauf Wert gelegt, dass die Leute aus der ganzen Republik dorthin können und können dort Kultur genießen.
Ich finde, das sieht ein bisschen aus wie so ein Inka-Palast. Ich habe jetzt nicht daran gedacht. Herzlichen Dank, dass Sie uns die frühere Musikhochschule
Ja, wir suchen
von
sie
Inka
noch.
zeigen.
Wir haben sie noch nicht gefunden. Hier sind wir immer hintenrum reingekrabbelt. Man musste in der DDR noch ins Erntelager gehen, einmal im Jahr.
Was ist das denn?
Mensch, Jörg, ey.
Ja.
Erster Tag Hochschule, ich kann mich erinnern, die Treppe, ja absolut. Man hängt doch nicht an dem, was das eigentlich für eine Blase war, sondern man hängt ja an den Momenten, die man dort erlebt hat. Ich hätte diesen Ort nie wieder für mich entdeckt, nie wieder. Und da danke ich dir ganz doll.
Gerne. Eine Frage ist ganz wichtig. Ist wirklich wichtig. Wichtiger als jedes Telefonat. Eine Zuversicht.
Wir gehen jetzt auf den Rathausturm, weil man von da, glaube ich, einen ganz guten Blick über die Stadt hat. Owen Wilson, Emma Thompson, Rolf Fiennes. Hier unten gab es Soldaten, die marschiert sind. Das siehst du auch in dem Film. Genau. Und es sind wirklich rund 20.000 Bücher hier.
Welche Szene hat hier gespielt? Aus welchem Film?
Nachher der Zauberlehrling hat hier stattgefunden. Jetzt beginnt deine Rolle. Also ich gehe dann mal. Macht mal. Ein Mitschüler hatte in seiner Abiturklasse 3, die ihn bespützelt haben. Also die dann mit Zuträger für die Stasi waren. Das ist Grand Budapest Hotel.
Das sieht echt sehr, 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 sehr abgefahren aus.
Hallo, ich hätte gern ein Zimmer.
Was wird denn jetzt hier aus diesem Ort?
Ein Kaufhaus. Meine Mama hat hier gelernt und gearbeitet. Und als ich dann auch im Gymnasium in der Innenstadt war das immer so verbunden mit einem Gang ins Kaufhaus. Ein Haus, was eine Geschichte sicherlich hat, was man aber eben zu DDR-Zeiten, muss man auch sehen, 50 Jahre hat vernachlässigt.
Ja, ja.
Wo ich aber nicht sicher bin und denke, die letzten Leute sind hier vielleicht Anfang der 90er Jahre ausgezogen, würde ich für möglich halten.
Ihr könnt doch jetzt quasi wieder einen Ostsaal haben, aber der in die heutige Zeit passt.
Jeder Stift für sich allein ist hier zum Beispiel gedreht worden, wo man tatsächlich auf der Suche war im Vorfeld nach einem Haus, was man bespielen kann.
Das ist dieses Haus.
Genau. Man hat diesen kleinen Laden dann da auch noch mit bespielt.
Die ganze Friedensbewegung war darauf gerichtet, dass wir endlich einen Staat haben, in dem die Menschenrechte gelten, nicht in die ganzen Bürgerrechte, Freiheiten. 61, da sind jeden Tag etwa 20.000 bis 30.000 Leute geflohen. Dass dann die Stasi sozusagen mit einem eigenen Schlüssel meine Wohnung sozusagen aufgeschlossen hatte, dort Fotos gemacht hatte.
Ist das schon auch ein sozialer Brennpunkt
Das hat was damit zu tun, dass die Plattenbauwohnungen sehr preiswert sind. Ne?
Wie gelingt das, diese Leute ins Gespräch zu bringen?
Also es ist sehr schwierig. Wir haben vor Jahren ein Netzwerk gegründet, Aktionsbündnis für eine friedliche und weltoffene Stadt. Ich habe bis heute nicht meinen Frieden gemacht, dieser Gesellschaft. Und als wir dann herkamen, waren wir also mit 40.000 Leuten zusammen. 2.000, 3.000 Leute, die schrien, Ziegner raus oder wir stürmen das. Ich habe sie nach einer Stunde mit Worten besänftigt. Also das ist, glaube ich, die intensivste Rede meines Lebens gewesen.
Was gibt es jetzt noch, was es so nur im Osten gibt?
Das ist so ein Klickenverhalten und so. Du kommst daher, wo kommst du denn her und da und dann bist du sofort drin. Im Dialekt, in Pionier, da brauchst du gar nicht diskutieren. Programme, bevor die rauskamen, haben wir die vor der Partei vorspielen müssen. Tendenz war immer, am Sozialismus wird nicht gerüttelt. Die Grundfesten müssen stehen. Wir lachen aber hier und da über unsere kleinen Fehler und Schwächen. Und dann hörtest du schon von Weitem, wie sie gerufen haben, schließt euch an, wir laufen auch für euch.
Hat es so vorher in der DDR quasi noch nie gegeben.
Das war der erste Abend. Wer dabei war, wird das sein Leben lang nicht vergessen. Für mich ist das der eigentliche Tag, wo alles anfing. Und dass da nichts passiert ist, das gibt's gar nicht. Das gibt's gar nicht.
Hier sind die Demonstranten hergelaufen.
Hier in dem Park, da waren die Kampftruppen. Da war der ganze Park, lag voll von Männern, die für Ordnung dann sorgen sollten. Das konnten Sie ja nur von hier oben sehen.
Dann haben wir hier aufgebaut und haben Intershop gespielt. Und dann habe ich gesagt, einmal Taft bitte. Und dann hätte ich gerne eine Creme 21.
Good evening and welcome to our talks with Hesse producers of short-form digital series. In order to give you an impression, we have shown clips of Jörg Buschka's series, Buschka Discovers Germany, Show Me Your East, which he produced with his company Wildstärke 7 TV und Filmproduktion. Jörg Buschka is a digital series producer, reporter and director of TV documentaries and corporate films. After the diploma in communication design at the Wiesbaden Hochschule Rhein-Main, he started his career with documentary films for the German TV stations SWR, Südwestrundfunk, and NTV. He founded his company Wildstärke 7 TV und Filmproduktion, home-based in Wiesbaden, where he produces also corporate web clips for companies and directs public broadcast TV documentaries.
Yes.
In 2006, his digital series format, Buschka Discovers Germany, started on YouTube and soon afterwards as paid premium format on Burdas 7load.de. In 2012, Buschka Discovers Germany was shown as a feature-length film on the German public broadcast channel HR, Hessischer Rundfunk. Turbine Medien released his production on DVD. The third season of the series started September 30th on YouTube, and his documentary, Buschka Discovers Germany, Show Me Your East, with a duration of 2 hours, was presented by the public TV HR, Hessischer Rundfunk, on October 3rd, 2020, the 30th anniversary of the fall of the wall. In 2019, the production gained the Critics Award in the category Best German Series by the Webfest Die Seriale. Now, after this very interesting introduction, Jack, please tell us, how did you come up with the idea of Buschka Discovers Germany?
You mean the so to say mother format or this special third season?
Whatever you prefer.
Okay, I don't know. I think 2005. I thought of I was used to walk around with a video camera and let myself be followed by a friend with a video camera, and we just filmed each other. Oppositely. Hör mal, da geht's schon los in meinem Englisch.
Oh, no problem. If you don't have it, say it in German. I can quickly translate.
it was just I wanted to bring together my my journalistic works that I already did. I had already done some TV documentaries by that time, and I had long private history of doing fun videos, and I wanted to bring that together, and with a very open ideas, so that like anything could happen. And everything could happen, and of course it was inspired by the people you had in mind by that time. I mean, to call it was Peter. I can't recall his surname from the BBC. He walked around and talked in Afghanistan or something. This is he was a big inspiration. And Harpe Kerkeling on the German side, who had the opportunity from Radio Bremen TV station to do as much crazy stuff as you could imagine by that time, the end of the 80s. And so that was all that inspiration came together into this format. And then I talked to a friend, well, let's do a pilot and present that, for example, to ZDF or Hessen Fernsehen, HR TV. And then we read in Der Spiegel journal that YouTube had come up, so you could sort of broadcast, I mean, stream your own content, and yeah. And then he said, well, let's be our own station and do our own stuff, and we just produced the beginning of a first season, and then I think he or I put it onto the Seven Load website by that time, and soon afterwards the CEO of Seven Load mailed or phoned us up and said, well, do you want to become one of our premium formats? We like your style, we like your content. What do you think about it? And yeah, and then the story nahm ihren Lauf. It came.
Started. It sounds great. I mean, Seven Load behind was the big publishing house Burda, which plays a very important role, and of course is also an influencer to all media in Germany, I would say.
Yes.
And may I ask you, did you just react on the situation, or did you do some treatment or some scripted material before you shot?
The thing is, I always like to have a blank paper in the beginning and a blank head, and just to react on anything that's going on. So in our first episode, Jan Vogel, the cameraman and co-producer, and we went to Bad Kissingen, which is a very nice but very calm and beautiful but not very exciting place. And I thought, well, how could we start the whole thing? And I began with seeing an apple lying on the street and kicking it or throwing it. I think I kicked it, and I said, well, Jan, let's follow that apple. He will lead us away. And so something developed, and then then I started to talk to people. There's a better word. I always say coincidentally, but that's not the word. Zufällig. Ich habe zufällig.
By coincidence.
Yeah, okay. I talked to people by coincidence who I saw on the street, and I think in the beginning more than 50% of the people said, no, I don't want to talk in front of the camera. But it was a different time as now. Now everyone is filming everything with a smartphone. And by that time, it was, if you didn't overact in front of the camera or with your camera behavior, people would I would say, more easier let you into their world, and that's what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to have a fun with the whole situation, and I made fun of myself, and I also looked how. I mean, it's not only Bushka discovers Germany; it's also what does Germany with Bushka, what does it with me when nothing is happening. So, for example, when we walked in the streets of Fulda or in Eisenach in the nighttime, and there was really nothing happening, I thought, okay, I would rather start singing something. So it was always something going on, and I didn't cut it down too much by the time. We had wie heißt das, Drehverhältnis. What would you say?
The ratio of shooting and final footage.
Yes, of maybe sometimes we would take 1/3 of the raw material, which was like 7 hours of just filming with a VX 1000 Sony camera by the time. And to take this to 2020, when I met the cameraman of this new season, Stefan Pohl, we thought, we talked about how could we achieve this, the possibility of having a camera that you can hold the whole time without your arm falling apart.
Cameras are very heavy, and I don't know any elder cameraman who hasn't problem with his back.
Yes, yeah. Stefan can sing a song from it. Das kann man nicht übersetzen, ne? Er kann ein Lied davon singen. But it was, we decided to shoot with a Sony FS5 or Mark II, which is sort of a small camera, but it would still produce brilliant pictures, because compared to that time, 2006, it's a huge upgrade.
It was a big difference because the technical development went very, very rapid. But tell me one thing. In the beginning, you just reacted and you had a lot of material. And when did it become, let us say, a business basic? When did you decide to go on and use it? I mean, your company has to live. And how did you do that?
Oh, let me think. I think that was maybe it began in 2011 or so. I did, after Bushka Discovers Germany, I invented, I was asked by the Green Screen, the biggest German nature film festival, to be the on reporter, the presenter, and to do a sort of a backstage film for them. I think that was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a web series for the company. My companion Jan Vogel by the time is now one of the CEOs, and that was a Christmas stories taking the perspective of wie sagt man denn mit Migrationshintergrund?
With a migration background.
Yeah, to a company member with migration background, and he's about Ercan, and it was called Ercan, Mensch, wie kann man heute überhaupt nicht mehr, feiert Weihnachten.
Well, celebrates Christmas.
It celebrates Christmas. Sometimes vocabulary is not coming. Yes, and I sort of did the moderation of that, and I followed him, but he was also in focus. So sort of Me Too formats of the mother format Bushka Discovers Germany.
Developed.
Yeah,
Okay.
they developed and found their way. And actually, when did I do Bushka Discovers Austria for the Austrian tourists? Something. It was in 2010. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where's the picture? I maybe can show you.
No, come, let's go on. Yes, I found it on your website that you did this Bushka Discovers Austria, and that was on order. That was a business.
And it was paid, and yes.
Good. And well, I mean, from the very beginning and with your company, how did you do the financing of Bushka Discovers Germany?
Well, there was only several months that were financed by Seven Load, and afterwards we would have to find a solution. I mean, we had a sort of okay, as you mentioned, there was a film made out of it and a DVD production with a producer Turbine Medien. But to say it clear, and with the help of a post-production house, Media Atelier in Mainz, they would be very friendly to us with a money situation. They wouldn't give us money, but they wouldn't charge us money. I mean, Phil from Turbine Medien, he had to pay more than he achieved.
Yeah. That happens sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks to Phil. I'm so proud that we did this DVD. It's so cool to have something in your hand. I'm still one of a member of the old generation that won't buy CDs with booklets and everything. Okay, what was your question again?
Well, the question was about the financing, but you answered very well.
I need to add something, but I'll be fast. And Seventh Load. And the second season in 2014. When I did 3 more episodes, new episodes with Mark Schnellbach from Wiesbaden, he wasn't paid at all. I mean, I myself wasn't paid as a producer. We just made a contract so that if we one day make money out of it, we both would share it in a certain way and so on. Yes, and the financing situation, that's what I wanted to change. So in 2018, I thought, okay, maybe I can do another film, but I want to finance it right from the beginning. And then I talked to many people from Frankfurt, and I also talked to Hannes Karnig from the AG Doc, and one of these wonderful people told me there is a guy called Django Dobrodka, and he hosts Die Seriale, and it's a digital series festival. I said, what's that? It's the oldest and biggest German digital series festival, but it's just from 2015. I said, wow, I have to call him. And then it was so friendly. It was so nice. It's an explosion of love. That's how I entered the Seriale world, and there I was in 2019. After I talked to Django, and he said, "Well, you have to cut down something quite short. It's a new generation of web series, and you have to cut it down." And it was And I said, that's probably my only chance. So please do it. And I cut it down and eingereicht.
Well, and then you asked for, did you ask for funding? Förderung?
No, for that I didn't do that, but on Die Seriale I met Dominic Lando from Spessartels, and he said on the screening in Wetzlar, when most of the people had gone because it was so cold.
It was bitterly cold, I remember.
No, I mean, a few people saw the screening, but it was such a nice location. But then the weather, weather, how could you do it? So I met Dominic, and I saw how well he and Matthias do their project, Spessartels, and I said, well, and he came to me and he said, I like your documentary format. That was so raw. That was nice. And I said, well, I like your production. Let's meet. And then we met in Wiesbaden and talked about how can we put that on a financial base that is working and this is bringing something for the people producing. And then I think in August last year, we went to Hessen Film and talked to Katrin Lisa and presented her the project that I pitched on Die Seriale last year. An idea that I already had in 2016. By that time, I was thinking about doing a film with people who were already popular in the GDR times, but talking about what's still so special about the East and what's still different between Eastern Germany and Western Germany in these days, because we used to hear in the last 10 years it's all bound together, and a new generation thinks it's all the same, but it is not. It's to me it's almost like two different cultures with the same origin, but yeah, we have to learn how we think and how we are, and I was interested to find out about that in 2019, and yes, I presented the project Buschke Discovers Germany, Show Me Your East Side at Die Seriale. And then Dominic and I presented it at Hessen Film, but we did not
Succeed. You didn't get the funding.
No, we did not find companies who would support us on the other hand. I mean, there's a Hessen Film that would have to believe in your project and give it an okay, a thumb up. But on the other hand, you would need a company, for example, the Wiesbaden company Brita, that is big here. They could have easily. Oh, I don't want to get any.
Well, the point is that you have to present a letter of intent of a company that is doing either world sales or distribution, so that they know your production will be shown and will have some business success. I think that was the point.
I think by that time we already talked to Hessen Fernsehen that they would give us a letter of intent to broadcast it as a film, and I think we had that before we talked to the Bundeszentrale für politische Bildung. It's how do we translate that? Governmental.
It is a governmental company that takes care of education. So I would translate it as an institution for political education.
Yes.
Okay.
A real big institution, and we have in Hesse or Hessia, what do we say?
Hesse.
In Hesse, okay. In Hesse, we have a Landeszentrale for political education, and that's a place where I usually go, and you can get like 5 or 6 books for free, very interesting, nice books for free every half a year. So I was already in contact with this political education universe, and then on the Frankfurt Book Fair last year, I saw a stand. Stand?
Booth.
A booth.
Yes.
I have to drink water.
They presented their books, and so you could pick it up.
No. Ich muss mal kurz auf Deutsch sagen. Ich habe einen Stand dort gesehen von der Bundeszentrale. Die hatten dort einen Stand.
Oh, the political institution, they had a booth on the book fair.
Yeah, okay. Yes, they had a booth there, and I talked to someone there, and I explained the film project to them, and to make a long thing short, on December Weihnachtsmarkt in Frankfurt last year, I received a phone call of the Bundeszentrale, and they said, "Well, your problem was interesting. No, your project is interesting, and we would like to hear more about it." And then, even our very first phone call lasted like 45 minutes, and I thought, well, those are professional people. If they were not interested in your stuff, they would have hung up after like 3 minutes and said, "Oh, it's so nice, but
yeah, but that sounds very, very good.
Yeah, yes." And then, but then it took still quite a few steps, and in January we received the information that that the project is. I mean, they have like certain hierarchies, and they would have to present it to a,
of course,
jury,
superiors,
something. And so we had that like 2 or 3 times. That that wall is now that milestone is now achieved, and then the other one is still unclear. And then we went there in February and to Bonn, to their
headquarters.
I mean, I think they have 2 headquarters in Bonn and in Berlin.
Berlin.
Okay. Yeah, we conferenced with them, and then there was the Corona. So we had already figured out a contract. In the end, we would come to. They would say, "Well, it's too complicated if you have the Hessen film on one side and us on the other side, and we have to. It's very complicated. We would rather finance your project fully."
Oh.
That was a great achievement, but then there was Corona. We saw us already in producer's heaven, and then there was Corona. And after 5 weeks of not knowing what would be going on, we received the thumb up, and we would then finally sign the contract. And they would sign the contract as well, and we could start producing.
That sounds really terrific. But I would like to add, I mean, your company, in order to earn the daily bread and butter, you were also producing corporate web clips for companies.
Yes, such as IT companies. I was even moderating them and in front of the camera, and talking to Google and Amazon representatives about technical things that I didn't understand. But my duty was to do the questioning, and I had a certain a list of words that it had to contain. And that's it. And I produced it, and I cut it myself. Actually, I also cut this film myself.
Good.
This 2-hour thing. This was the biggest thing I ever cut, and I cut it on this beautiful thing that we talk with right now. So, hey to 2020. Thank you to 2020. Yeah.
So it shows also in a problematic situation. Well, I would put it down to no situation can be such negative that it doesn't have a positive side.
Yes.
Okay, now tell me, the current status, are you planning further seasons? What are your further plannings?
The thing is, there's a horrible thing coming up. It's called my 50th birthday.
My goodness.
January, and I'm so afraid of this number, because until now I was young and doing this stuff, and and then no. The thing is, yes, I would want to. I will continue the web series, because I received so much positive feedback. To give you an example, when we did an interview in Frankfurt in 2014 with an older man, he was very sick, and he would talk about his whole life and let it wie heißt das nochmal, Revue passieren. Ich kann mich einfach nicht
And
ausdrücken.
he have pictures from the past that he could.
He would let the pictures from the past and stories from the past come up again, and so we had, and it's also online. It's from the Frankfurt episode, and it was such a rich interview. It was not. I mean, sometimes he made fun of something, of the situation, and I was laughing as well. But the whole thing was very serious. And such is the web series. It's if you take a first look at it, people would say, it's funny, you're making so much fun, but it's more than 50% of interviews and so. But to come back to the situation, he also talked about how he met his wife, and he was in the US Army after the war. And he was proud of the uniform and something. And he talked about so many things from his life. And then after the interview, I think half a year later, he died. It's so sad. And his daughter sent us an email later that she was very thankful that she now has still a film of her father talking about a rich life, and she was very nice to have.
That's great.
Thankful for achieving that. Yeah, and this is just one point why I think this format has enough potential to be transported and transformed into the future. And that's what I tried with this new season as well. I wanted to do two things. I wanted to reach people that I would not have reached with a normal old idea production, and I wanted to continue the old idea. I wanted to do both. Do you understand what I'm trying?
Yes. And may I ask you, what do you have a special wish for the future further production?
I just have to add, and because of that, I decided to do episodes with the popular people who were already popular in the GDR times and who are popular now. So they would also support our format. For example, the wonderful Inka Bause from Bauer sucht Frau. She's very famous, but she also very much liked our interview and the time we shared and what we made out of it, and she spread it in her network. So that was my idea to have those both worlds. You were asking what new idea I have?
Yes. What would be your wish?
My wish? My wish would be that it would find a little bit more easier form, so that we could go on continuing, not having to. This is nochmal. Ich muss das Rad nicht noch, dass wir nicht jedes Mal das Rad neu erfinden müssen.
You don't have to invent the story once again.
The wheel again, yeah. It's not coming, even if it's such normal.
May I give you a hint? You are on YouTube. Can you put it interactive?
Bushka Discovers Germany. We thought about it from the very beginning, and I'm not too much a friend of the interactive thing. I'm too much from the old world for that. Okay. I don't no because there was a film yesterday on the ARD. It was about the Sterbehilfe. I don't know the English word.
that was held for suicide or for
yes.
people that are terribly ill.
They would have a poll with TV viewers if that is correct or not. I don't want such things. I don't want the people too much to have their hand in my program. That doesn't sound very friendly, but that's how I think. I think I have to make my footprint, and people, yeah, should follow that a little bit, and they can give me hints, and we can. But the thing itself,
so direct, yeah.
Yes, I don't want them to direct it because that's not their. I mean, why would they be in the position of doing that? When we have these coincident meetings, things develop and find their own way. And if then people would say, no, turn around, let that person be, and that would be something else. That's not what I want.
But we may definitely hope for further seasons, for further stories of Bushka Discovers Germany.
Thank you very much.
I have to thank you, and well, I'm looking forward to seeing more of your stuff. Thank you.
So, what kind of a series do you want to shoot here?
Oh well, still not ready, but it's a romantic comedy where this Korean couple tries to wrestler.
우리는 독일 베칠라에 있는 롯데 생가를 방문할 거야.
그렇다면은 롯데 생가가 독일에 실제로 있다는 거야?
Hey, doesn't see. Okay.
Hey man, how are you?
Good, you? Oh, good. Such a long time.
And the girl loses her brand new phone.
I think I lost my purse.
What? So she needs to start looking for it, but then she still can't find it, right? So the next day, she does the same process all over again, alone. And in the process, she finds something more valuable.
We continue our talks on Hesse producers of short-form digital series. And I'm very happy that we now have an international co-production on our schedule of discussions with Hesse short-form digital series. We are talking of Lotte House, a Korean-German co-production of YMK Films Korea and Dobago Films Gießen. Our guests are Young Min Kang, the producer and director, and he's also the founder of the Seoul Webfest. Then we have Django Dobrotka, the German producer and director, and he also is a founder of the web series Festival di Seriale in Gießen. Young Min Kang studied fine arts in Seoul, Korea, and continued with the science subject film in New York. Thereafter, he moved to LA and worked as a director for a TV production company. He directed several feature films and web series. All feature films, among which was Cupid's Mistake, with a Guinness World Record budget of $980, have been released on VOD on Netflix and Amazon and DVD in the US and have been sold in 15 countries. He has numerous awards from a number of film festivals and webfests. Young Min Kang collaborated with fellow film Avatar alumni Just Cause 3D on his 4D Experience project. He is the founder and executive director of the Seoul Webfest and Asia Web Awards. He has been a jury member at several webfests such as Die Seriale, Roma Webfest, and many more. Django Dobrotka studied drama, theater, and media at the Institute for Applied Theater Studies at JLU Gießen. His thesis was the feature film Trennschärfe, literally translated Selectivity. With his company Dobago Film, home-based in Gießen, he started his production and offers a wide range of services in the field of conception, shooting, and post-production. He is the producer, director, and co-author of the internationally award-winning short-form digital series Number of Silence, and he is also the founder and festival director of Die Seriale. The Korean-German web series Lotte House, filmed in Wetzlar, Gießen, and Seoul, supported by the Kulturfonds Gießen-Wetzlar, celebrated its world premiere with the final third episode at the renowned international series festival Seoul Webfest in South Korea. It won the Best Premiere Award at the Digital Media Fest, the Special Jury Award at the DC Webfest in Washington, and the Best Drama Award at the US Ozark Mountain Webfest. And so far, over 20 webfests and festivals have been accepted as official selections and nominations. Well, now, after this quite impressive introduction, may I ask, how did you come up with the idea of Lotte House? Jan.
Okay, I was very lucky because the T-Serial invited me, one of the jury member, 2017. Then after festival, they have tour program. So I was so excited because there's a lot of beautiful city around that, the city of Gießen and the Bachelor, of course. And then I noticed that it's called the Lotte House. So I didn't know until I figured it out. There was she came from the novel of the Quarter, the sorrows of young Walter. And then I was shocked when I discovered there's like a real house of a Lotte. And then I really want to make something like branded the series. So I spoke to Chongo. Okay, I really want to make something then. He was like, okay, so good idea. But thing is, the most exciting thing is Lotte name is one of the biggest company in South Korea. It's a Lotte, the corporations. The funny story is I think one of descendant, the young guy, the visit South Korea, the Busan city, and then he saw a lot of Lotte logos. And then he thought, why so many like name of my grandmother's name, you know? So he wondering, like figured it out. Then later on, he found out, you know, the name of the Lotte actually came from the company, the founder of a Lotte Corporation. He named it when he was young. You know, he was like really inspired by the novel, and he named it his company as a Lotte. So which means like the company will receive a lot of like love, like a Lotte character. So those story combined might be great idea. So Lotte World Tower in Korea right now, 123rd buildings, and then Lotte House in Bachelor. So combined together with the romantic, the love story, it could be great idea. So that was actually basic concept. Then we developed together with the Chongo. So that's how we started.
This is a quite thrilling story. I have read in the history of Lotte House, the founder also liked Goethe so much and the story that he named his company after Lotte. And this is a wonderful coincidence. Jongor, how did you follow up when you and Young discussed this first?
Yes, I really didn't know anything about the Lotte company in South Korea, and I was also surprised when Young mentioned that, and also some another creators who was also on the tour said, yeah, there's a building, a big building in Seoul, and they called it Lotte. Has it something to do with that? And I said, I don't know. And so we discovered the whole story behind it. So, and I think because of that, we was also surprised, and we thought, okay, if we don't know about that, maybe also the audience don't know about that, and we can tell them something. And this was the first idea, I think, from my side. But I think Young was he has the first idea to make something about it.
Well, I've seen the episodes and I love the series very much. Well, how did you come up with the treatment and the script? Were you working together, or how did you do it, Young?
When I got the basic concept, and then I like research, of course, research about the quarter, and also you know, like read the book and again, and also there's a lot of like a story the behind the, you know, what's going on, and then I like keep talking with the Chongo about how we can develop, because I don't know, like if they are Lotte House, they're gonna allow to shoot inside, right? So those kind of stuff I have to discuss with the Chongo, because I have no idea what's the German side, how they're gonna provide us, or how we can with them, you know. So without that, I can't develop anything. It's gonna be useless, right? Even though I develop a lot of things, and later on they are not allowed to shoot inside, then okay, all my idea is like boom. So the Chongo actually he gave me a lot of like a confidence. He said like everything could be possible. So I develop a treatment like whatever I want. But the main problem is we don't have much time, because we are right after this serial, you know, the event. So we have like a limited time, so we have to deal with the time consuming. Also, the budget is, you know, not much. You know, all the web series, right? Like how the budget is like tight. So then those things I have to deal with. You know, like we are a lot of like discuss talks. So, but the main like basic concept and story, actually, I wrote it, and then after I finish the first draft, and show to the Chongo, and then also they have a team in German, some writers group. So we just like few times back and forth and like make a smooth like a dialogue and all kind of stuff.
And how did that work from your side, Jongor? You have been in close exchange, I understand.
Yes, yes, we with Lotte House in Wetzlar, we had also in the past a good communication, and they are also really supportive. So I was really sure that we will have the support, and but I didn't know how it is with the Lotte World Tower, because this is on Young Wenkang side, and it is a really big company, and I really didn't know if they want to have a series about the connection between these two different houses, and so but maybe Young can tell something about this and how it happened that they supported the series.
Yeah, please.
For the Korean side. Okay.
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, like Chongo said, the Lotte is a big company, huge. It's like the number 5 biggest company in Korea. Then, so the first things like I have to attract them, the story, because the good news actually they really concerned about the Lotte, name of the origin of a Lotte, also the writer, the author. So a few years back, actually they found the statue of Goethe right in front of Lotte Old Tower. So which means like they really respect the origin name and the writer. So I approached it that way. Okay, this is about like it's going to be really good for image of this company, especially the founder. Actually, he passed away the last year, but still like he did this amazing thing, based upon the Lotte character from the novel. So also I told them the Lotte character actually real, like alive, real exist. Even they didn't know. They just like worker, right? And they have no idea. Then they said just like, oh really? And then they asked me so many questions. I wrote like all the synopsis, where's the Lotte is like the house, and then how the Goethe real like falling in love with her, then also even like the Jerusalem, right? How he got the commit suicide, also even his real house in the Bachelor, everything. And they're really like exciting. They ask me so many questions. Even like, for example, what's the difference between Charlotte and Lotte? I said it's the same name. so which means they really exciting. Like wow, this it's gonna be the great like the story, right? So and then the beginning is like first approach is really good. Then after I wrote the script and I showed them, also they liked it. So but tough thing is the shooting inside the Lotte Old Tower is very tough. Also, nobody done like shot, like especially lounge 123rd. There's like a beautiful lounge. So I want to get the shot. So we special like ask for their shooting location, and then they actually provide us everything. It's like even like a special the crew and staff for the elevator, and but thing is like we have to avoid the business time, so we film actually in the middle of the night, stay all night until like sun comes up. So that's why there's a night scene. Other than that, like everything is like perfect. They really so good to us.
Yeah.
Because they love it. They love concept. They love it, like especially like relate to the German, the co-production, and this is like combined, right? Like Germany, Korea, also like the Lotte from the past and the right now present, like Lotte or the Tower. It's a lot of like mixed together. So they really excited. And these days they're very happy because we received the awards and nomination and so many festivals selected. And each time I'm tell them, right, oh, we got this one, and they said, oh my god. They're really like excited. Yeah.
It sounds so perfect. But now tell me a bit about the financing. How did you get it together?
Maybe Chongo, you wanna talk first?
Okay. For my side, it was I asked the city of Wetzlar, and I asked there's a fund, a special fund, which is for something which has to do with the culture of city of Wetzlar and city of Gießen. And because we wanted, because everything began with the festival, the Seriale, which is founded in Gießen, and also we had an idea to shoot in Gießen, and so we involved both cities in this production on a really natural way, and I think it worked also well out. And so we received this funding, and the city of Wetzlar was really supportive. But it is not only the financial funding. I think this project was for all of us also something emotional, because we wanted to build a bridge, not only between Gießen and Wetzlar, but between also Wetzlar, Gießen, and Saul, the two Lotte houses. And so we know the production is really big. We have not so much money, and we need a lot of help. And so, because if we do it one time, this co-production, we wanted to make a bridge also for following productions. This was also an idea, and I asked for partners, and I had a really supportive partner with Tag und Nacht Media from Darmstadt, and Marco Eisenbart, the cinematographer. And so we said, okay, we can make here in Gießen and Wetzlar the second and third episode of the series, and produce it after the Seriale festival directly. So it was really for us something, and you can say an investment for the next step to make something for the future. And we wanted to tell this story because we think this really unique, and only it is we wanted to tell it. Yes, the first step every time is we needed a really good idea, and something in which we can believe. And this idea, I think it is really strong enough to make more of it.
That is all right. And I would also like to add, I mean, it's quite important to point that out. First of all, the Hesse producers, they are very close together. They're working together. For example, we have Dominic Lando being production manager of Buschka Discovers Germany, or Marco Eisenbart being the OP of Anomalie. And here, of course, we have the functioning together. Plus, the companies have, in order to be able to make web series, earn their daily bread and butter. And Jongos company does it in doing services in conception, shooting, and post-production. So just to give you an overview. But now to the question again, financing of Lotte. How did you get the Korean part together, Yang?
Yeah, the first actually with the discussion with the Chongo, right? The very important like co-production, how we can do that, how we can handle like finance from both sides. So we have no idea in the beginning. So I come up idea, why don't we totally separate each part? So let's say German side, the Chongo, okay, whatever you want, your responsibility, okay? Whatever happened, like, I just trust on you, right? You can do even like by yourself or bring your own camera. It's okay, right? It's your part. And then I'll take responsibility, my part in the Korean side, because we have each episode, like location is separate. So, and then the Lotte World Tower is part of the Lotte company, and it's a part of branded series. So I talked to them, provide us, of course, a location, and then also as well, we needed some money for, we have to pay all my crew and the staff, especially they have to stay all night, like three nights. And then especially also the Korea is very expensive for the staff and the crew, because they changed the law of the labor of the film production. So we can hire anyone for free actually right now. So very tough in Korea right now. So you cannot do anything without money. So those fund actually I asked to Lotte World Tower, because we need to hire a certain member of crew and staff. Especially we are using some nice like the Dali, and also nice lighting, because Lotte World Tower has to be, looks very fancy. And then also you guys see in the beginning, right? Like $1 million like budget with the fireworks.
Looks
that was
great.
like cost $1 million, even fireworks itself.
Yeah. Now, may I ask, when you started this, did you think about marketing from the beginning? And did you already have a target group? I start with you, Jan.
For the marketing? For the marketing, I thought like this is going to be really good, the branded, also really good for everyone, especially the German writer Goethe, then everybody knows. So actually I did a lot of the panel, right? Even the Russia and the Brazil, and whenever I talk to audience, like talk about, oh, this is like based upon the novel of a German writer Goethe, then everybody like, oh, Goethe, that one automatically like make intention, because everybody knows. It's like also second thing, like the novel, like the Sorrows of Young Butter. A lot of people read the book, and a lot of people love that book. And even some of them, they like that book than, the Faust. I don't know. I like both, but
Wir Leiden des jungen Werthers und Goethes Faust. Good mixture.
I mean, they style, like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that much like very, like, it's already like we have a lot of, advantage, right? About like a famous name and famous book. And then more interesting thing is, that's the real, the Lotte world, Lotte, the character in, Lotte house in the city of Bachelor. Then also Lotte World Tower in the South Korea. It's now it's like they're something like matched together. That one is automatically like a good marketing point is like there. So we like marketing like that point. Yeah.
I quite agree. I would like to hear your point of view, Jongwa.
Yes. About marketing, I think we have a different perspective. The perspective was it depends also of the financing of the series, because I think from the Korean side it was a branded series, And from our side, it was a cultural project. And so it is somehow both. So because it is not only to sell something, it is also to learn something about this specific thing about Lotte, and what the most people also in Germany don't know. So and I think this was the series is for everyone who wants to know something more about Goethe or Lotte House, and something very interesting. And also this was the point also for the Lotte House in Wetzlar to make something about this project. And we still don't have the premiere from second and third episode. This will be coming soon. The world premiere was in Seoul last year, and I was there, and it is really an understatement if I say it was impressive, but because it was really impressive. This building is phenomenal, and also the whole festival and how the premiere was sold, it was really awesome. And I think the marketing side, until this moment, I only know the marketing side of from the South Korea, and I know the Lotte World Tower. They make also on social media, Facebook marketing, and a little quiz about Lotte House, and it was really funny. It was not funny. It was really great. It was great to see that people are doing that, and for me, something very special was also to, maybe you asked that, but I wanted to say it, because to mix the team, because we are a really many different teams, and not only from Hessian side, we put all the small teams together, and we was at the end a really big team, and it was really also what you see in the series, that the actors from South Korea and Germany are together and make something. Also behind the camera was the same, because we was also a different team and spoke different languages, and this was really a great experiment for me, and everything was really going well, like better than we planned, I think.
That sounds really good. I may add, in over 50 years I have been in the industry, I found out no matter which language you speak, but internationally, we film people, we talk the same language.
Yes,
yes.
I agree. Totally,
secret.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes.
And, well, may you now tell me, please, what are your further plannings, and if you could express a wish, what would you wish to have for future productions? Jan, please start.
Okay. Yeah, Lotte House doing really well. Also, Lotte World Tower, and also City of Wetzlar, and everybody actually involved with this project is very happy. And then that's why we want to do a following project. So I was in Rome the last year, and also I discovered another amazing house. It's a Goethe house in Rome. It's Casa di the Goethe. Yes, that one also gave me another exciting, like, okay, that's the next one.
May I join you, because I often worked in Rome.
And then I researched, and I found a lot of amazing and exciting, thing about how the Goethe traveled to Italy about like 2 years, especially a lot of time spending in Rome. Also, there's some few the beautiful the love story. So I mean, I want to something like, could be there's another Italian version of Lotte. maybe Guoto falling in love with her, maybe secretly something.
Well, that sounds terrific.
Yeah,
Jongo.
then but thing is, if I make just romance, then it's not much like exciting with the, like Lotte House, So that's why I want something like, could be something totally different style, or maybe different style, different project. So I put some mystery and thriller. It's like Da Vinci Code, right? It's like Da Vinci, like amazing. He doing a lot of different field, but the Guoto is the same, almost like same level, which means even Guoto has maybe secret code, So I try to put some interesting code in the story that might be more exciting. So that's how we started developing for following project right now.
That sounds very, very much interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Now, Jongo, tell me your aspect.
Yeah, yes, I think Young explained it very well. This is here, we know we wanted to do a follow project because everything was worked really great. And I think now we know how it works, how we can do it, how we can make a better financial, a better everything, a step bigger and more. And now we Young had this really, again, this unique idea, I think, to make something Goethe with Da Vinci Code like thriller adventure team. And I really love the concept. So we want to make it happen. I think this is our follow-up project. We are in the starting phase. I can tell a lot of things, but we will go on and we will make it happen.
Sounds terrific. Well, guys, I have to thank you very, very much for this very interesting and thrilling session. Looking forward to see your next season. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Ich habe mich immer so schlecht gefühlt, weil wir wegen mir so leben mussten, weil ich nicht normal bin. Weil sie sich aufgeopfert hat, sich um mich zu kümmern.
Jan!
Dein Papa war ein sehr, sehr schlauer Wissenschaftler. Er hat untersucht, ob es ganz weit weg von hier noch andere Welten geben kann. Irgendwann bekam er die Chance, eine Rakete zu fliegen, die viel weiter fliegen sollte als alle Raketen zuvor. Aber diese Rakete war nicht gut genug gebaut. Alle, die dabei waren, sind jetzt in den Sternen. So wie dein Papa. Ich habe mir versprochen, auf dich aufzupassen. Warum machst du es mir denn so schwer?
Sie hat dich geliebt, Jan.
Sie hat mich angelogen, verdammt. Vielleicht war sie die Bekloppte von uns.
Was hast du jetzt vor?
Was genau hat das mit dem Gellerschen Schwingungsverhältnis auf sich?
Verschwindet hier!
Deine Maschine ist angesprungen. Was ist damals passiert, Papa?
Benutze nicht die Maschine. Versprich's mir.
Willst du uns nicht mal erzählen, wen und warum wir ihn jagen?
Ihr wisst, was ihr wissen müsst. Findet ihn einfach.
Was wollen die von dir? Mann, ich habe keinen Schimmer, wer die sind und was die wollen.
12. April. Das Datum? Was ist das für ein Datum? Das ist mein angeblicher Todestag.
Du trägst es in dir, Jan.
Wir sind die Pretty Bastards, weil wir die Bastardsöhne des Wrestling-Gottes sind.
Du hast den einen, der sportlichere, athletischere und den Verrückten.
Ach, und schlag ihm ins Gesicht, bitte! Bitte!
Wir sind zwei Charaktere, wir haben zwei verschiedene Meinungen und das, was ihr im Ring seht, das sind wir. Das ist Bruderschaft.
Dieser Traum, dieser Wunsch einfach vom Wrestling leben zu können, weil es mir einfach so einen riesen Spaß macht. Das ist einfach meins.
This is our journey.
Das ist lustig.
Da bist du aber schön wogegen geschrammt. Habt ihr sie?
Eine haben wir.
Sie hat sie gesehen.
Zeig uns, wo sie hin sind. Wo sind die anderen beiden? Gehen wir.
Du wartest im Auto.
Wir sind zu nah an ihm dran, Ralf.
Nur noch ein Stück.
Aber wenn wir sie haben...
Gleich in den Kofferraum zu der Arm dran.
Muss leise sein, Ida. Du willst deine Mama. Weiß ich doch. Guck mal, was ich von ihr habe.
Regnet das? Leute, regnet das? Psst.
Die ist hier noch irgendwo.
Ist sie nicht. Hat es hier gelassen.
Ich sag doch, es regnet. Hast du sowas schon mal gesehen? Nein.
talks with 4 Hesse short-form digital series producers. First one is Christian Stadach with Tag und Nacht Media. Then we have Marco Eisenbart with his company For Real Dogs, and Matthias Noe and Dominic Lando with their Spessart Tales, of which series we, as an introduction, have just seen the trailers. We start with Christian. Tag und Nacht Media has an interesting story with its connection to Tag und Nacht Studios, which are a creative collective in the heart of Darmstadt. Founded in 2011 by the befriended bands Wortblind and Sound Section and built up in the truest sense of the word, the collective grew from its own recording studio to a complex of over 400 square meters. A large number of project studios and rehearsal rooms are offered to musicians and producers, including some well-known. Tag und Nacht Media, run by Christian Stadach, Thomas Meuth und Stefan Böhl, is the media production company in Tag und Nacht Studios, which, as an agency for visual and auditory media, looks after an extensive customer portfolio. The fields of activity range from real film planning, shooting, editing, and grading, as well as VFX, 2D and 3D animation, sound design, and music production, to full service support, including print, photo, and online campaigns. Tag und Nacht Media has also made a name for itself internationally with the production of fictional series. Christian Stadach, Bachelor of Arts in Digital Media, Master of Arts in Media Direction at the University of Applied Sciences Darmstadt, manages the company as a creative director. During his university studies, he worked as a compositing and motion graphics artist for Pixomondo in Frankfurt, where he worked on projects like Hugo Cabret, Game of Thrones, Super 8, and After Earth, as well as numerous ad campaigns. He also taught post-production at the University of Applied Sciences in Darmstadt for several terms. Aside from his passion for visual post-production, his focus is on directing own projects like the series Men. Tag und Nacht Media has 3 creative directors: Stefan Böhl, Thomas Meuth, and Christian Stadach. Of the 3, Christian is the one who concentrates on directing the series, and he is the director of the short-form digital series Anomalie, produced by Tag und Nacht Media. Even before the start, Anomalie won one prize after another and was shown at international film festivals in Gießen, Berlin, Bremen, Rio, New Zealand, New York, Bilbao, Minnesota, Seoul, Buenos Aires, Rome, and New Jersey. Now we come to Marco Eisenbart and his company For Real Dogs. Marco Eisenbart is a cameraman and director from Darmstadt. With roots in documentary film, he has worked in many areas of the film world, such as documentaries, series, feature films, advertising, and music videos, both as cameraman and director, as well as colorist. His international shooting experience spans Europe, the Middle East, North America, South America, and Southeast Asia. On Anomalie, he worked as the DOP and has been nominated for the award Best Cinematography at the Seriale in 2019. With his company For Real Dogs, home-based in Darmstadt, he produced the thrilling series Bastards, which won the award Best Documentary at Seoul Fest in 2019 and the Asia Web Award Best Creator Documentary. Well, and last but not least, we have Matthias Noe and Dominic Lando with their Spessart Tales. The two met on the set of the ZDF series Ein Fall für zwei, literally translated, A Case for Two, where they worked as production manager, assistant, and assistant director. And since then, cinematically, no sheet of paper fits between them. The Spessart Tales team is a non-profit network of Bavarian and Hesse film professionals around the film producer Dominik Lando and author-director Matthias Neu. Matthias Neu, born and raised near Hanau, the birthplace of the brothers Grimm, Matthias instantly fell under the spell of legends and tales of the supernatural. While studying in Mainz, he proofread screenplays for ZDF Enterprises, Germany's largest broadcaster of fictional programs, and sought every opportunity to work on film sets. After graduating, he worked as continuity assistant director and eventually as visual effects artist for nationwide programs in German TV. And advertising, designing visual effects and title sequences, while never forgetting about his own story. Eventually, he teamed up with the producer Dominik Lando and a dedicated crew of film professionals to launch the web series project Spessart Tales that has so far produced 3 episodes, with the 4th episode in the making. Dominik Lando, from lighthouses to will-o'-wisps, with roots on the shores of the Baltic Sea, Dominik studied business management in Frankfurt to later work in the marketing departments of Mind Factory in Wilhelmshaven and Steuer in Frankfurt. Bitten by the film bug though, he had also worked as a PA on cinema and TV productions during his studies and eventually turned his skill set in customer acquisition and finance towards the film business. Today, he works as an independent advisor for film production companies and as producer for the mystery fantasy series Spessart Tale. Dominik has so far co-produced 3 episodes together with writer and director Matthias Neu, the first episode being in pre-production. Now, after this long and quite impressive introduction, I start with the first question. How did you come up with the idea of your series? And we start with Christian and Anomalie.
Thank you, and thank you for this great introduction. I feel a little charmed. How did we come up with the idea for Anomalie? So this has its roots in our first series, Meme, which was well received at festivals and also by other creators, but we instantly noticed that we pushed the bar on the visual side of everything, but concentrating so much on the production value, we missed a bit out on the narrative part. And so it was pretty clear, and pretty soon pretty clear, that we wanted to do something that was more narrative and that had a stronger story and that was more captivating. And so we decided to create a new series. This was when we were driving back from a festival. We said, let's do something new. Mark was always laughing when I tell that story because we were sitting in the car and driving, and I think I said to Stefan, let's do something new, something simple we can do in our own hood in Darmstadt, not many special effects, and just concentrate on the story. And yeah, and that's where it started. And then we started to think about what is interesting to us, what do we like, and we instantly said we wanted to do something that has mystery elements, but also drama and thriller elements. And so we started to build the story on that and simply created something that we like ourselves. And 3 years later, here we are, almost finished.
That sounds very good. Well, tell us about your quite thrilling series, The Bastards.
Yeah, well, hello. Thanks for having me. Bastards, being a wrestling series, of course, is the goal was to portray this wrestling world in a manner that people outside of the wrestling world would get attached to it, or would quite understand what wrestling is about, because there is always this stigma that wrestling is not real and wrestling is fake, when in fact wrestling is quite real. So yeah, that was our goal with Bastards.
Well, and you succeeded also in telling the story of your two main characters. It was quite interesting to follow up, even though I'm not in, normally I wouldn't look at wrestling, but this was very interesting. Now, Matthias and Dominic, how did you come up with the idea of Spessart Tales? Would you like to start, Matthias?
Yes. So Dominic and I, we had known each other for quite some time. We had met on A Case for Clue, as you mentioned in your wonderful introduction. And so we knew each other, and we had worked on a commercial in Hamburg. And shortly after, I had like this idea of shooting 2 short films in a row. So having basically 2 stories, but you shoot it in a row as if it were one movie. And we kind of naively prepared for that and said we do everything at once. So we also wrote the screenplays at once, and both were kind of in the mystery spectrum. And we realized, also because I harbored a lot of interest in German legends or in ancient legends at all, overall, that we could kind of connect those 2 stories because they had kind of, pretty obvious similarities. And we didn't really manage to shoot them both in a row, but the idea of connecting these stories kind of maintained. And so after we had finished the first movie, we made the second movie, and all the subsequent movies now always have in mind that these stories are kind of interconnected and take place in the same universe. And
Dominic, would you like to say something to how did you come to the idea?
Matthias was pretty detailful. Can I say that so?
Detailed.
Many in detail, and I had nothing to add. We learned much. We learned much about the different phases we need our issues or schedule our issues, and so we come up and always we're shooting, learning, and so now we are here. You saw the in our prologue for the next production, where we're still in pre-production.
Good. That makes a very good bridge to our next question. The question is, how did you realize the project in regards to treatment, scripting, the production itself, how much time took it, and last but not least, how did it work with the financing? Christian, would you like to start, please?
Sure. This was obviously a pretty new project for us in terms of scope, because from the beginning we knew that Anomalie would be bigger than anything we had done before, even while we were planning it. So we tried to decide what would be a preferable length and a scope for the project. That's why we came up with this 10 episodes by 20 minutes, because we felt that it was something that we could actually do rather than going for longer episodes. And we didn't want to go for shorter episodes because we felt it would not fit the story. So this was one of the first decisions to say, okay, we have seen series that work in that time frame, narrative series, not only comedy. And this is the least amount of time you need to tell our story. That's what we felt. And so we started crafting the story around the ideas I told you before, like the mystery theme, that it should be about a young person on the edge of adulthood that makes his journey that is also metaphorical to some extent. And there were many loose ideas. We like Steven Spielberg movies, and we like this and that, and all that came together and mixed in some sort of idea soup that then helped us to craft the story out of it. And it took, I don't know if I'm lying now, but 1.5 or 2 years to really develop the story to the point where we could start shooting. We also changed a lot in the script while we were shooting, because sometimes you're on set and you realize, okay, this was nice on paper, but it doesn't work in reality. So we had to go back, change things. and sometimes even change it on set. But I know and I think that's normal, so it was not that much of a big deal, and it made the series better in the end. So when we were at a point where we thought the script was ready to shoot, we started doing lots of pre-production, trying to come up with locations and stuff like that, and also a plausible schedule, because we were doing it besides our regular business. And we had to, and also Marco, who was the DOP, we had to plan around our regular work, but also have shooting periods that were long enough so that we could get going without always going, stopping, going, stopping, going, stopping. So it was a little bit of a balancing act, but it was doable, and we shot almost everything through the course of 1 year. It was like, Marco, was it 50 shooting days, something like that?
I guess it was about 47 principal shooting days and 3 or 4 extra days. Yeah,
Good.
Was a lot.
And yeah, to get back to the financing thing, because we were trying to get funding for the series, obviously, before we started shooting, which turned out to be pretty rough. And we thought the project had to end. We couldn't continue. And but then we tried to come up with the amount of money that we could from ourselves and from the company, and to try to broker deals with the actors and the crew who were willing to put aside some of the money and not getting the whole deal. And this made the production possible in the first place. So it's due to the commitment of everyone, like in all or most independent productions, to the commitment of to be able to pay everyone. So this was a thing, because we are all professionals now in the field we are working in, and most of us cannot afford to shoot something in that scope and not being paid. So we knew we had to pay something. We just had to balance the effort and the money. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a very difficult point, and especially now, as also once you go to funding institutions, they want to make sure that the people are properly paid. And of course, once you have the so-called Rückstellung, that means you will pay them, for example, 50% in cash, and the remaining 50 once you gain income. But then you have to make sure that the social fares are paid and taken care of, which makes it very difficult, I understand. Okay, now, Marco, tell us about your story. How did you work on it? Did you script it before? How long was your production time? Did you have to travel a lot? And how did you finance it?
Yeah, well, I kind of scripted it. Of course, the series being documentary, you can always hope for or plan for a certain amount of things that you hope to happen or plan to happen. But things happened without spoiling too much. There was like some unforeseeable things that happened, turning this whole thing that was originally meant to be like a short 50-minute thing, turned into a 20-minute, 25 minutes, and we just kept shooting, because things kept on happening. So at one time, Christian asked me, "Are you planning it as a series or something like that?" And I was like, "Well, now that you say, well, yeah, I could do that." So all of a sudden, this small thing that was just meant to get back into a documentary, since I haven't been shooting a whole documentary for years, turned into something bigger itself. So I was kind of, chasing after the things that happened, also in terms of planning. So the series kind of wrote itself. We shot for, I think it was, we started shooting in March of 2018, and we were, the last day of shooting was in November 2018. the thing about it was we were still shooting while we were releasing the episodes. So the first episode was released in August 2018. And actually, the last day of shooting was one day before the last episode was released. So that was something I will never do again. But it was interesting. In terms of financing, well, yeah, it's the same old story. We didn't have any money, but we still need to spend money. So same story. Luckily, there was a lot of people who were willing to work for free, say it as it is, see the great idea behind it, and for the rest of expenses that you just need to cover, like traveling and food and everything, I paid it out of my own pocket because I really believed in the subject and in the project. A special thing with wrestling is that, you know, wrestling and filmmaking or news media in general, there is this thing that most of the time people that go into the wrestling world from outside to shoot something, it always ends up something like, they are pretend fighters, and you know, this same old story about wrestling being fake, and you know, like is it acting or is it art or whatever. But having a background in wrestling, I used to be a wrestler myself back in the day, and I still knew most of the people. We had a whole different access to the whole thing. So they would really let us film things that you normally wouldn't get access to. So that's why we could paint a really compelling picture of the wrestling scene.
You really did, and especially as one of your persons, or one of the playing the big part, had a terrible accident. And how did you manage that, to get along with that?
Yeah, well, you know, it's always a thing, because you know, from a filmmaking point of view, there was you know, there was a lucky accident, you know, because it adds drama. Of course, we were all terrified when we heard about it, but these are the things that happen in wrestling, and the men and women who step into the wrestling ring, they know about it. And that's what I meant earlier when I said we wanted to show that wrestling is not fake, because the secret that's also being said in the series by someone, the secret behind a spectacular fall out of 3 meter height is a real fall out of 3 meters height. You know, yes, there are certain ways that you know how to prepare for it, but it's still gonna happen. And it's also the much realer thing. Maybe it's not a real combat, but the lifestyle they live, you know, the training, the nutrition, the traveling, also the bruises, the broken bones, the torn ligaments. This is all real. This is all happening. And it's very, very real to everyone in the wrestling business, because this is their life. So yeah, and that's I guess we were able to transfer that in Bastards.
I quite agree, yes. And now let's get to the land of legends and tales. Matthias and Dominic, tell us about, how did you work on it, the treatment, the script? How did you produce it? Was what the time? And last but not least, how did you finance it?
Yeah, so with regards to writing it, I always harbored like this huge interest in two things, like fairy tales and legends from Europe in general, and from my home in Spessart in particular. And I always thought, like, you know, if you want to make, like, I always wanted to make like German genre movies that are really from Germany. So don't like copycat American plot lines, but look for your own, look for the stuff that's outside, you know, in front of your doorstep. And those two things came together, and I actually started to write one story, and then, you know, I had this, I visited a copper mine museum, and from the way home, it was like 50 minutes from getting into the car outside of the parking lot of the copper mine to arriving at home. I had made up this whole story, and it was very easy to interweave another tale from the Spessart Forest into that tale, and both stories were pretty much, they were relatives, so they had a lot of things in common. And while we were, and then I approached Dominic because we had worked on a commercial before, and I approached him and asked him whether we would want to produce it. And we kind of, during a stroll through Wiesbaden, when we were going to get some food, we came up with the idea that we could actually connect them, because there was something that, had the clocks were already ticking in the back of my mind, about that idea. And I kind of suggested it, and Dominic, I hadn't suggested it, but Dominic suggested it as well. So we realized, okay, this is kind of a good thing, because that idea seems to be, sprout in different heads. And so that's what we did. And we thought, well, let's produce it in a row. Let's produce two short films with a complete length of 30 minutes. And that's how we set out to do. But what actually happened is, Dominic is going to tell us about that.
Okay.
We started in January of 2014. And the plan was, really good idea, that we put together, to save some time, put together our pre-production and the financing phase. And yes, we want to reach the budget with crowdfunding. During our pre-production planning, that was really, really impressive. And we learned that there's a reason for it, that we that other production companies share it. There's a time for reaching the budget, and after that you can start with your pre-production and start furthermore with the production. And we had only the money reached only the money for one film, for the first one. And so we shoot it, and during the shooting we start to planning the second, but the evaluation wasn't cool, I think. We show it more internationally, but not nobody was interested in our project from the smaller festivals. But where we get the second breath, we had many conversations to professionals and the founder and host in former times from Hofe Filmfest is International Hofe Filmfest is Mr. Badowitz, and he gives us some support. He says, guys, go on, you're on the right way. And I ask, why do you show? Why don't you show it on your festival? You have to increase a little more. We had some experiment in our film, and so we take the knowledge from the last project and get more professional at the second. And this was a really, really cool one. We didn't have any time for the pre-financing, and so we decided, we took 2,500 euros from our own pocket with the goal to refinance it after the shooting. So start to shoot. We had a small window for Zeitfenster. It's a small period.
A time frame. You had a time frame.
Thank you. We had a small time frame to shoot, because we get all the licenses to shooting. We get the whole crew together. For us was it important that we didn't have enough money to pay somebody. So we need a good time that all schedules come together to our small time frame, and so we send it out to and get our first invitation from the Seriale. It's one of the biggest festival in Germany for movies we shoot for. And so we had I think it's one month, maybe 6 weeks. We know that we had our nomination, and I asked another production company for a sponsorship, so he can present our film, and we get our money back to get in the next project. So, and now we presented at 2019, we presented a place. It was the first look. We get more feedback from our colleagues, and what you can see if you see our project, we increase every time a level, the next level. It's more professional. Our build is more impressive. Matthias put more details in it. The crew members are growing. In the beginning, it wasn't easy.
Well, yes, the beginning is not easy, and especially as it comes to finances, it's clear when I look at your records, you all have basic business with which you earn your daily bread and butter, and that enables you to work on your dream projects. But I would now, Dominique.
I want to add, there was also a time at the first project in a post-production was really horrible, and I feel really sorry for Matthias because every guy or female department give us said, oh, okay, we do it for you, it's no problem, and we get it back our issues. We get back our issues, and the task in the post-production was only Matthias' table, who was growing up, and my table was also growing up, but we had the idea we have to put pressure in it to get it on.
Well, of course, it's the spirit at the very beginning, which is important and which counts. Well, I now would like to ask the next question. When you did start your production, did you think about marketing from the beginning, and did you already have a target group? Christian, how would you answer this question?
I think that is a very interesting question, especially for Anomalie, because first of all, I have to say, of course, we thought about who it might appeal to. You always do that, but this was not the reason we created it. So the reason why we started with it in the first place was that we wanted to do something that represents us and our ideas, and is the kind of series that we want to create. So essentially, we were the target group in the first place. So we wanted to create something we like and people like us like. And also we wanted to do something that is somehow connected with us locally, so does not hide its roots. So it was very important for us to create something that really says, hey, this is Darmstadt. Nobody knows Darmstadt. I mean, some people do, but it's not like it's Berlin or something. But we thought if you look at American films, for example, they play in the middle of nowhere and everyone likes it just because of that sometimes. And if you look at German movies and series, they always, or sometimes it has changed a little, but sometimes they just try to hide their origin because I don't know, maybe they are ashamed of it, or they think the scope is not right. But we felt like it was more important to tell something that appeals to us, to represent us in a natural environment that also represents where we come from. Of course, we looked at current series, and I have to say this was before Dark. So some people say, "Oh, this is like Dark," but yeah, you could see the similarities. But actually, we came up with the story before we ever heard of Dark, so it was a parallel development. But I think something that we maybe unconsciously anticipated was that the time was right for stories like that in Germany, and I think that's true for all the stuff the people created right here in this talk and beyond it. That especially the independent filmmakers try to create stuff that is a little outside of the regular stuff you see on television, even though television is evolving in itself. But you try to go with the things you like and the audience might like, and this comes just out of intuition, I think.
That's right. And well, I may add from the follow-up I do, the local stories, this is the future. Because the more global we get, the more people are interested in very specific details. And well, Marco, now tell me, did you think about marketing and did you have target groups with, well, wrestling, that's okay. But did you have any else in your mind?
Well, actually, of course, I did not think about marketing in the first place because I completely underestimated the whole thing. I was lucky enough to have people like my friends from Takonaf Media and Jongo and also yourself, Gisela, who kept pushing me to send it out into the world. So wouldn't it be for Takonaf Media, maybe I would never have sent it to the Seriale. Which was our world premiere, and from there on we went to the to several festivals around Europe and to the Seriencamp in Munich, and from there we went to the Berlinale series market, where we in the end met our distributor who's come up with a couple of nice deals for us. So basically, it was all just a bit of the luck and of the bold and the brave that put us into the place to be able to produce season 2, which we are post-producing right now. We did have a target group, but apart from what you would think, it was not your typical wrestling fan. Of course, we also wanted to cater to them because basically, of course, I mean, a wrestling fan will watch a wrestling series, right? But I don't see it as a wrestling series per se. I see it much more as a story that takes part in wrestling. So we wanted to connect with the audience that was outside of everything that was happening in wrestling, you know, of the people that maybe have never heard of wrestling, that were skeptical of wrestling, or that just, you know, weren't that into wrestling. So that was our goal, to get people who are not wrestling fans to have a real connection to our protagonists, Prince Ahura and Maggot, the pretty bastards. That's why the series is called Bastards. To tell their story to people outside of the wrestling world. Basically, it's just, the story is, what are you willing to do to fulfill your dream against all odds?
Very good. And I have to tell you, I followed up the story of your two main characters with big interest. I liked it very much. Make your dream come true. Now,
thank you very much.
Matthias and Dominique, tell me, did you have marketing already in your thoughts? And did you have a target group when you started to work?
Yes, we had. We have always good ideas, but not all of them reach us to our goal. That's why we wanted all mystery fans, all fantasy fans. We want genre fans, we want females, males, older, younger, kids, all of them. So, and if you start to showing the projects and at the festivals and business events, you have many conversations with other filmmakers about it, and you always get a hint from every side. So we become more our nuts and bolts. And now we are concentrated. Our target group are the millennials and the Gen Z. It's equal with a female or a male. We made film for both, and we get both in our story. Is the better saying, and yeah, we get a really good information to find our group before. From Anna Santa Maria, Joël Bassoset, we talk to them and think about that. Think about that. Did you think about that? So we get more professional, and now we are if we can we reach the idea of the sense of a real target group you going for. So we created strategies for it to get in communication with them. And you see, the last crowdfunding was also successful and combined or completed our budget.
Whereby I would like to add, I mean, crowdfunding not only is a tool to gain additional money, crowdfunding is marketing. Because already by this means, you found a crowd that is interested and of course does follow up.
So you have to imagine before, think
right.
before, how get I in touch with them. And you are totally right. So, and now we can have the opportunities that we can split off our budget in more details. Crowdfunding, after the first one, we were at the same line. That a crowdfunding can't finance a whole project like a downstream where we stay in pre-production. So we were really grateful that we get in touch with Hessen Film at the Seriale, and 1 year later we get the half of the budget from Hessen Film. There's a public fund here in Hessen, and we are really grateful. Also, they taking a little risk for this decision. It wasn't normal that we come up with a fantasy film and say, hey, here we want to shoot a fantasy film in Hessen. So the most of them, it was difficult. That's why we are really grateful that they give us trust in us and be partner of the next project.
Good. Matthias, would you like to add something?
Basically, no. I would stress what Dominic said. It's that you never. I mean, also Christian and Markus said the same thing. You never lose one thought about what is your target group. You start out with being your own target group. You start out making the stuff that you want to do yourself, but there's a point where you need to focus on these kind of things where somebody needs to push you and says, okay guys, it's pretty good, but you need to know who's your audience, because news alert, you're not making it for yourself, you're making it for an audience, and the audience is not just you, and you have to think about how the whole, how you communicate to your audience, what you communicate. I mean, it's not just making the movie, it's also like social media and all those strategies. You need to know where to find your audience. You cannot just get everybody, and I think there's no product in the world that's made for everybody, and to kind of get this awareness raised in your mind by some wonderful people like Joël Bassoset and Anna Santa Maria, who took us to the side and said, pretty cool stuff, but I think your target audience should be this or this, and so and we kind of reached the point that our target audience is millennials and Gen Zers, because those are the ones we can relate to best, and yeah, that's basically what we already made the movies, the series for, without knowing it.
Yeah, your statements show clearly how important networking is for all of us. And festivals play an important role, and let's hope we will be back again, that we can meet personally. Well, my next question now to you is, tell me about your current status and your further plannings. Christian, please start.
After 3 years of hard work, we have finally come to a point where we can say that the project is really, really almost finished, which means that we have the complete series now. There's all of the sound, there's all of the visual effects, the editing is done. And we also already have some color grading, but this is where we are still doing some fine tuning. So now we are doing some minor fixes and cleaning up the project and looking that we don't have that many discrepancies between things that should look the same and stuff like that. So essentially now it's just giving it the last final touches. We are very confident that we can achieve that within the year. Or we are certain that we can do that because we have to. And being at that point at the moment really shows what's. I would like to pick up a little on what Matthias and Dominic said, and also the target group thing. Something that is, in my opinion, a myth out there is that you can really reach, only in really special cases, you can reach a target audience, whatever target audience that may be, on your own. So this is something that has really come to my present attention, that it's not only about creating something good and knowing who you want to sell it to, but also, like you said, the networking. And this is where the problem that is, I think, the biggest topic for most of us independent filmmakers, this is where this topic comes into our attention. When we try to reach a broad audience, there are many barriers between us and the regular possibilities to do that. So it's not possible for us to go straight to a bigger streaming platform and broker a good deal that will not only give us some money for selling the series, but will also promote the series in a way it should be promoted to get an audience. So, and that's my transition to the future planning. Which means what we are trying to figure out right now is to get beyond this world where we are right now to this world where you should be to properly promote your series and get some money out of it. Because in the end, of course, it's success to get awards at festivals, to talk to other filmmakers, to make a name for yourself within this inner circle. But what is ultimately the goal is to live off what you're doing. And if there's no money involved, it's no fiscal success. There's no nothing to gain except work, and of course, also a lot of personal satisfaction. But you can't eat that, unfortunately. So I think what really needs to be done is to get to manage to do this, the next step, to reach out to a lot more people than you can do on your own. So. And that's what we are trying to figure out right now, trying to get in contact with the right people, opening the right doors. And we think that Anomaly is at a point, and also at the quality level, where we have the possibility to at least talk to the people on some sort of eye level and say, we did this, this shows we can produce, and we can do all the steps that are necessarily involved on the technical side. But now we need someone who is willing to accept that and to let you into that other world where the people are that have the money. So
that is correct. This is very important. And well, I may perhaps say at this point, I'm working as a consultant and advisor, and I'm very willing to help you. I'm following up big conferences. I just had the Medientage in München. I had the Serien Camp. So come to me and we will work it out. Well, the next question goes to Marco. Marco, How is your current status and what are your further plannings?
Well, riding the wave of euphoria after season 1 was so well perceived on the international festivals and won us a couple of awards. I was talking to my team and I was like, you know what, let's do season 2, but let's not do 2 protagonists. Let's do 5 protagonists. And let's not only shoot in Germany, let's shoot all over the world. So we've shot in several European countries, and then the Bastards were scheduled to have their debut in the United States as the big season finale, and it was all planned out like a 3 weeks tour through the US, shooting in Florida and everything all over the place, and it was all perfectly planned. And then there was this Corona thing, so, and it all went to bits and pieces. So basically, we were stranded without an end to our story. Of course, we are working with the current status that basically wrestling is non-existent right now, and we're intertwining that into our story. But it was a pretty big blow, not only to us but to the whole wrestling industry, which was at the brink of melting down. And so our current status is readjusting, overcoming obstacles, and also there are some really nice things that came up, which will be official in the next couple of weeks. I can't tell right now, but something to be pretty excited about for us as a team and as a production. Further plannings are to finish season 2, and for a couple of logistical and political reasons, there will be a spin-off of Bastards, which has the working title Bad Company. Season 2 was originally titled Bad Company, but the new title, well, I'm revealing that for the first time, the new title will be No Holds Barred, which is a pun of a no holds barred match where anything is allowed. So all hopes are allowed for our protagonists. And there will be this spin-off series or film, not quite sure. There will happen both of these, Bastards season 2, No Hopes Barred, and Bad Company, in parentheses, a working title, will be released in 2021, coming to you.
Very good. I keep my fingers crossed. Well, Matthias, Dominic, tell us your current status and your further plannings. Matthias, you have to unmute. Switch on your phone.
Here we go. I think it comes to no surprise that we're also in sort of a Corona hibernation. Funny thing, at March 8th, we had our whole shoot planned to happen in May. And on March 12th, we could kick that into the trash because, the events coming, accelerating at that point. So we had to face the fact that, we had a little bit of discussion that was kind of funny because I pride myself a little bit in saying, this is really bad, like really, really early on. And Dominic was kind of being Dominic, like, yeah, let's find a way, let's see. And, and like 2 days later, we both realized what was rolling over us, like a huge pandemic wave was rolling over us. And there's actually, we felt like a lot of filmmakers, you got to do something. There's always because that's kind of how you make films. You don't make films if the first sign of resistance comes and you kind of give up. You kind of, weasel your way through it a little bit. But this was basically the unweaselable situation that we were facing. So now we're kind of, our whole production is on hold, or let's say we are in permanent pre-production until, some great company from Mainz or from the States or from England, we're closely following their work right now. When they announced the vaccine, and as soon as this kind of situation seems to change and we can kind of predict when it's going to change, we will start to kind of actually go actively into pre-production. at this moment, pre-production for us means like we're doing a lot of research for technologies that we could use that have come up pretty recently, and kind of taking the advantage out of the disadvantages. We have to delay our production and taking the advantage to do to bring some things in that coming new to the film business. And also one thing I need to stress is it's always good if you have time to work on your script and to work on the whole story and the plot. It's always good. It's never a bad thing, because you can always kind of improve on it, or you can always have like a second guess on it. And this gives you time to kind of develop ideas, to kind of meander a little bit in your mind. It's a great time for writing, actually, at the moment. It's a bad time for filming. So that's kind of the situation we are in.
Okay, Dominic, would you like to add something?
Oh, I'm fine with Matthias. What Matthias?
Okay, well, there is my final question to the panel. If you could express a wish, what would you wish for future production, for your future production work? Christian, would you start, please?
Okay, that's actually a difficult question, because I would wish for a lot of things in future productions. But if I could wish for one thing, I think it's exclusivity. Could you say that? Exclusivity? Is that a word? Exclusiveness? I don't know. You know what I mean. What I mean by saying that is, I think one of the biggest obstacles
We just had a little technical problem. So sorry, but we are back again and we will continue our talk. The question is to this round here, if you could express a wish, what do you wish for your future production work? And Christian, please start.
So I'm going to quote myself there really quick. It is really hard to decide on one thing that I would wish for, because there are a lot of things I would wish for in future productions. But if I had to decide, I would say it's exclusiveness, exclusivity. So really concentrating on one thing in the production during the production time, because this, I think, is the main thing that sets apart most of the bigger productions. Of course, also the money, but with money there is exclusivity. But the time you can put in your project really decides on how good you can do it. And especially for me, but also for all the other departments, but especially for me as a director, it's really important to have the time to really dive into your project and be there for a while and realize what is going well, what is going not so well, what are good decisions, bad decisions. Let that sink a little and think about your story and stuff like that. So you really have some communication with your project. And if you are always interrupted in that process, this also makes it much harder to get to a certain point of quality and concentration. So I think this would be something I really wish for. And also because if you don't have that, you have to get all the energy and the time from somewhere else. So it's always on the backs of your family, of your wife, of everyone else involved, and also your colleagues at work, because you have to get the time from somewhere and the concentration from somewhere. And so and I think might also be true for bigger productions because the scope is different. You have the money, you have the exclusiveness, but you also have much more weight lying on your shoulders. So I think that's also true. But what makes the difference in the end is that it's the same weight, but you can do more with it. So.
That's quite correct. Yeah. Well, Marco, please give us your view. What would be your wish if you could have it for the future and for your productions?
I actually have two wishes. One is for my productions, since For Real Dogs, my company was born out of Shooting Bastards. Out of producing the series, because at first we just put a label on it, and I called it For Real Dogs, and it evolved into like a real company that is now actually starting to make money. And we are developing other stories and other concepts for the future. And my wish would be that this is something that I could fully concentrate on, running this company with my team. That's as far as I can wish for my future endeavors to pan out in this way. I'm completely aware of the fact that it's really hard to make a living solely off of documentary filmmaking. But as long as this is a bigger part of For Real Dogs, then I'm happy with that. And there's actually a wish that I have for my colleagues' productions and for all the other film and series makers, is that please, for the love of God, stop making Corona-themed series and films, please. Everybody has been there. We've seen it all. We've witnessed it all. We don't need to be reminded of it for years and years and years to come. Really, please stop doing that. That's all I wish for.
I don't have enough thumbs to approve.
Thank you, Marco. And now, please, Matthias and Dominic, what is your wish for future the production?
So we share the vision too. And for me, as a producer, it's I'm totally with Christian and Marco. But for me, as producer, if I have a personal wish, I will increase budgets for the cool projects where all over in the minds and in our minds, and we want to go the next step with the end of the next project.
Matthias, anything to add?
Well, yeah, I mean, Dominic already said it. If you ask a filmmaker for a wish, the first thing he says is money. So set that aside. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to our region, so we are all from the region that is basically like a mega city spread over like 4 different states within Germany, for a region to kind of come closer together and to kind of develop. I mean, we're doing, everybody who's in this round is really doing the groundwork for that already, but to kind of look for for making, for more professionalization, for, turning this whole region, the Frankfurt region, into more of a film making hub than it is right now. It's not, it is a filmmaking hub, but it's not yet Berlin, Cologne, or Munich. And I think we have the potential to do so from different sides, and to kind of to increase the networking, to increase, to get people here, or to keep people here, which is also very important, and to advertise this region as a filmmaking opportunity, which it is and it can be. And that would be my wish, like more broader wish for that. And as a filmmaker, let's just get on after coronavirus and let's start filming again. I'm looking forward for not having coronavirus. So those guys in Mainz better hurry up.
Okay, I must say that was a wonderful finalizing word for this round. Yes, I hope Frankfurt will increase, and I have to add here, the guys who have been talking in all these rounds, in all the panels today, well, with the exception, of course, of Yang Man Kang, but they originate from Hesse film schools. And that gives me the hope that we will find our position, which we have not yet found, I must say, and become more and more important and, let's say, bigger as far as filmmaking is concerned, because it's perfect. We are in the heart of Germany, we are in the heart of Europe, always leads to Frankfurt. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and well, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.